The discovery. Dr. Maya Chen squinted at her monitor, rubbing her tired eyes, as she recalibrated the lunar seismograph readings for the fifth time. The data couldn't be right. For 3 consecutive nights, her instruments had detected rhythmic energy pulses emanating from deep within the moon's Shackleton crater. The pattern was too regular, too precise, almost like a heartbeat. "This can't be natural," she whispered to herself in the empty observatory. The facility, nestled in the mountains of Colorado, was silent except for the soft hum of computers and the occasional ping of incoming data. Maya reached for her lukewarm coffee and checked the time. 3:17 a.m. She should have gone home hours ago, but the anomaly had captured her completely. The energy signature was growing stronger, increasing by exactly 1.8% each hour. The mathematician in her recognized the precision. This wasn't random fluctuation. Her phone rang, startling her in the silence. "Dr. Larson," she answered, recognizing her supervisor's number. "Maya, I got your urgent email," said Eric Larson, director of the International Lunar Research Initiative. "Are you absolutely certain about these readings?" "I've triple-checked everything," Maya replied. "Something is happening inside the moon, and it's following a mathematical pattern that suggests intelligence." The silence on the other end of the line stretched for several seconds. "I'm calling an emergency meeting," Eric finally said. "The ILRI Oversight Committee needs to see this immediately." Within 24 hours, the anomaly had become a global priority. Maya found herself in a secure video conference with representatives from NASA, ESA, CNSA, ISRO, and Roscosmos, every major space agency on Earth. The energy signature is concentrated approximately 8.3 kilometers beneath the lunar surface, Maya explained, sharing her screen to show the 3D mapping of the anomaly. "And it's growing stronger by the hour." "Could it be natural?" asked Dr. Kwame from the African Space Agency. "Perhaps some kind of previously undetected lunar core activity." Maya shook her head. "The mathematical precision rules out any natural phenomenon we're familiar with. And there's more. The pattern is emitting faint radio waves on a frequency that cuts through lunar regolith, like it was designed to be detected from Earth." "Designed," repeated CNSA Director Lu Wei, the word hanging in the air. "Are you suggesting artificial origin, Dr. Chen?" Before Maya could answer, General Harriet Coleman of Space Force interrupted. "If this is artificial and not one of ours, we need boots on the ground immediately. This could represent a significant security concern." 3 days later, Maya found herself strapped into a seat aboard the Artemis VI, humanity's most advanced lunar lander. Despite her thousands of hours analyzing lunar data, she had never expected to visit the moon in person. The crash course in astronaut training had been brutal, but there was no question she needed to be there. No one understood the anomaly better than she did. Commander Alexei Kuznetsov, a veteran of 4 lunar missions, sat beside her, his weathered face calm as the engines fired. "First time in space, Dr. Chen." Maya nodded, gripping her harness tightly as the G-forces pressed her into her seat. "Try to enjoy it," he said with a small smile. "Few humans ever get to see what we're about to see." The crew of 7 represented a united Earth. Commander Kuznetsov, Russia; Dr. Chen, USA; Engineer Fatima Al-Zahra, UAE; Dr. Ibrahim Okafor, Nigeria; Security Officer Tanaka Hideo, Japan; Geologist Sophia Mendez, Chile; and physicist Dr. William Park, South Korea. The journey to lunar orbit took just 38 hours. As they prepared for descent, Maya's instruments showed the energy signature had doubled in strength since their departure. "The epicenter is precisely located," Maya explained during the final briefing. "We'll land 2 kilometers away and approach in the rover." The landing was textbook perfect, touching down on the lunar surface with a gentle thud. Maya's heart raced as she suited up, the reality of standing on another world about to become her truth. "Stay close to the team," Commander Kuznetsov instructed as they prepared to exit the module. "Step where I step." Maya's first footstep onto the lunar surface sent a thrill through her body despite her anxiety. The stark beauty of the landscape, the pristine gray dust, the pitch-black sky, the distant blue marble of Earth, momentarily overwhelmed her scientific focus. They boarded the rover and drove slowly toward Shackleton Crater. As they approached the anomaly's location, Engineer Alzara suddenly pointed ahead. "Look at the surface." The normally random pattern of the lunar regolith was shifting, organizing itself into geometric patterns, concentric circles and straight lines appearing as if drawn by an invisible hand. "That's impossible," gasped geologist Mendes. "The regolith can't move like that on its own." But it was moving. As they watched, the fine moon dust flowed like liquid, revealing metallic patterns beneath. The lines grew more defined, forming a massive geometric design covering an area larger than a football field. "It's responding to our presence," Maya realized, checking her instruments. The energy output just spiked when we stopped. Commander Kuznetsov ordered everyone to remain in the rover while they observed. For 20 minutes, they watched in stunned silence as more of the pattern revealed itself. Then, with a low rumble they felt through the rover's chassis, the center of the pattern began to sink, forming a perfect circular shaft leading down into darkness. Steps appeared along the inside wall, spiraling down into the depths. "It's an entrance," whispered Alzara, her voice barely audible through the comm system. "A doorway into the moon," Maya agreed, staring at the impossible structure before them. Their instruments showed the shaft extended at least 3 kilometers down into the lunar crust. From deep within, a faint blue light began to shine, like a distant beacon calling them forward. After consulting with Earth and debating among themselves, Commander Kuznetsov made the decision. "We proceed with extreme caution," he announced. "Buddy system at all times. Keep comms open. If anyone feels unsafe, we turn back immediately." Maya checked her oxygen levels one final time as they prepared to descend. The blue glow from the shaft pulsed gently, almost invitingly. "I'll take point," Kuznetsov said. "Dr. Chen, you're with me. The rest of you follow at 5-meter intervals." The steps spiraling down the shaft were perfectly sized for human feet, worn smooth in the center as if used countless times before. After descending about 500 meters, they reached a horizontal corridor stretching away from the shaft. "Temperature is stable at 21 degrees Celsius, reported Dr. Park. "There's an atmosphere in here. Keep helmets sealed," Kuznetsov ordered. "We don't know if it's breathable yet." The corridor walls were smooth and metallic, covered with intricate patterns that seemed to shift slightly when viewed from different angles. Maya reached out to touch one of the markings. "These look like writing," she said, tracing the lines with her gloved finger. "But unlike any language I've ever seen." They continued down the corridor, which gradually widened until it opened into a vast circular chamber. Their lights couldn't reach the ceiling or the far walls. The space was enormous. The blue glow emanated from lines in the floor that formed complex patterns across the chamber. "It's like a circuit board," Engineer Alzara whispered in awe. In the center of the chamber stood a raised platform, and on it, a transparent pod about 3 meters tall. Inside the pod was a figure, humanoid in shape, but taller and thinner than a human, with pale, almost translucent skin. "Is it alive?" Maya asked, her voice barely audible. Commander Kuznetsov approached cautiously, signaling the others to stay back. "It looks like some kind of stasis chamber." The figure inside remained motionless, its eyes closed. It wore a simple silver garment that covered most of its body. Its face was human-like, but with larger eyes and no visible hair. Dr. Okafor circled the pod, studying it with professional curiosity. "There must be controls somewhere," he said, scanning the base of the platform. His hand brushed against what looked like a smooth section of the platform, but at his touch, it lit up with symbols similar to those on the walls. Before anyone could stop him, Okafor pressed one of the glowing symbols. The chamber around them suddenly hummed with energy. The blue lines in the floor brightened dramatically, and additional lights activated along the walls, revealing the true scale of the chamber. It was at least a kilometer across. "Okafor, what did you do?" Commander Kuznetsov demanded, but his voice was drowned out by a low resonant tone that filled the chamber. The pod in the center began to glow. Transparent panels that had been invisible before now lit up with scrolling symbols. Then, with a soft hiss, the front of the pod began to open. "Everyone back," Kuznetsov ordered, drawing his sidearm. The team retreated several steps, watching in stunned silence as the pod opened completely. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the figure inside moved, its chest rising with what appeared to be a deep breath. Its eyes opened, large, almond-shaped, and a striking violet color that seemed to glow slightly in the dim light. The being stepped forward with remarkable grace, standing at least 2 meters tall, looking down at the humans with an expression that might have been curiosity. "Can you understand us?" Commander Kuznetsov asked, lowering his weapon slightly. The being tilted its head, studying them. Then, to everyone's shock, it spoke, not aloud, but directly into their minds. "I understand you," it said, its voice resonating not through the air, but within their consciousness. "I am Ilara, guardian of Lunar Sanctuary 3. You call my ward Earth." The awakening. The journey back to Earth was tense and quiet. Ilara sat in the Artemis VI's common area, seemingly unbothered by the ship's acceleration, or the suspicious glances from Officer Tanaka. The alien being had insisted on coming to Earth, warning that there was no time to waste. "Your world must prepare," Ilara had told them. "The awakening of the moon will be detected. They will come now." As they approached Earth orbit, Commander Kuznetsov gathered the crew for a final briefing. "Once we land, Ilara will be taken to United Nations headquarters in Geneva. World leaders are gathering for an emergency session." Maya stared out the viewport at the blue planet below. It looked so peaceful, so unaware of what was coming. "I still don't understand," she said, turning to Ilara. "You said you created humans, but I am human." Ilara's violet eyes focused on her. "Your biological ancestors were engineered by my people," the alien clarified. "We came to your world 3.7 million years ago and found primitive primates with unusual genetic potential. We enhanced them, guided their evolution. The result, many generations later, is you." "But why?" Engineer Alzara asked. "Why go to all that trouble?" "Survival," Ilara said simply. "Our civilization was being destroyed. We needed a weapon that our enemy could not predict or counter." The landing at the International Spaceport in Kenya was met with unprecedented security. Military vehicles surrounded the landing pad, and soldiers in protective gear approached as soon as the hatch opened. "Stand down," Commander Kuznetsov ordered as he exited first. "Our guest comes in peace." When Ilara emerged, there was an audible gasp from the assembled personnel. Despite looking vaguely human, there was no mistaking the alien nature of the tall, pale being. UN Secretary General Adeyemi had flown in from New York to meet the ship. He approached with remarkable composure, stopping a few meters from Ilara. "On behalf of Earth, I welcome you," he said formally. Ilara bowed slightly. "Your courtesy is appreciated but unnecessary. I have watched your world since before your species built its first cities. In many ways, I feel I am returning home." Within hours, they were airborne again, this time on a government plane bound for Geneva. Maya found herself included in the delegation, along with Commander Kuznetsov and Dr. Okafor. The others remained behind for debriefing. During the flight, Ilara explained more about the threat facing Earth. "They call themselves the Void in their language," Ilara said. "It translates roughly to the consumers. They are a collective intelligence that absorbs the knowledge and resources of the worlds they conquer." "Like a virus?" Secretary General Adeyemi asked. "More like a swarm," Ilara corrected. "Individual Void are not especially intelligent, but together they form a consciousness that has outsmarted countless civilizations. They travel from galaxy to galaxy, consuming all advanced life they find. How do they find their targets? Commander Kuznetsov asked. They detect energy signatures from advanced technology, Ilara explained, particularly the kind of energy the Moon facility generates. My awakening has signaled to them that this star system contains something worth consuming. How long do we have? Maya asked. 3 months, Ilara replied without hesitation. Perhaps less. The emergency session of the United Nations General Assembly was like none in history. For the first time, every nation on Earth was represented, with no abstentions or boycotts. The world watched via live broadcast as Ilara addressed humanity. I am the last of the Luminar, Ilara began, standing before the assembly. 3 million years ago, my civilization spanned 1,000 worlds. We were peaceful explorers and creators until we encountered the void. We fought for centuries but ultimately failed. In our final act, we scattered throughout the galaxy, hiding on promising worlds, each guardian tasked with cultivating a new line of defense. Images appeared on the massive screens behind Ilara. Star maps, strange ships, and horrifying glimpses of worlds being consumed by a dark, swarming mass. Humanity was not an accident. Ilara continued. You were designed to be what we could not. Adaptable, resilient, creative in ways the void cannot predict. Within your genetic code lies dormant potential that even you do not yet understand. The assembly erupted in questions and concerns. Some nations called for immediate military preparation, others for evacuation plans, still others questioned Ilara's credibility. We cannot fight what we do not understand, said the Russian president. These void, what are their weaknesses? They have none that we could exploit, Ilara replied. But humanity does not need to exploit weaknesses. You need only to awaken what already lies within you. Over the following weeks, the world transformed. Ancient rivalries were set aside as humanity united against the common threat. The lunar sanctuary, now fully activated, revealed technologies beyond human comprehension. Ilara worked tirelessly with scientists from every nation, helping them understand and adapt the lunar knowledge to Earth's defense. Maya found herself at the center of it all, her mathematical mind uniquely suited to deciphering the patterns in luminar technology. She worked day and night alongside Ilara, understanding more with each passing hour. The key is not in building more weapons, Ilara explained to her one night, as they studied the ancient symbols. The key is in awakening what we built into humanity long ago. What exactly did you build into us? Maya asked. Ilara smiled, a gesture the alien had learned from observing humans. The ability to manipulate quantum fields with your consciousness, what your fiction might call telekinesis, telepathy, and more. These abilities were to be humanity's ultimate defense, but they needed millennia to develop naturally in your genetic code. And now we're out of time, Maya said. Yes, Ilara agreed, but there is another way. The awakening began 2 months after Ilara's arrival. In a massive underground facility built beneath the Swiss Alps, Ilara activated a device brought from the lunar sanctuary, a quantum harmonizer that could accelerate the activation of dormant human genetic potential. Maya volunteered to be the first subject. She lay on a crystalline platform as Ilara placed a circlet of pulsing blue light on her forehead. This will be uncomfortable, Ilara warned. Your mind will expand in ways it was not yet ready for. Maya nodded. I'm ready. The pain was excruciating but brief. When Maya opened her eyes, the world had changed. She could see energy fields around living things, could feel the thoughts of those nearby. And when she reached out her hand, objects moved at her will. It worked, she whispered, lifting a metal sphere with nothing but her thought. Over the next week, 1,000 volunteers from around the world underwent the same procedure. Each emerged changed, awakened to abilities that had lain dormant in human DNA for millions of years. They became the first of Earth's new defenders. The void arrived exactly as Ilara had predicted. Massive dark ships appearing suddenly at the edge of the solar system, moving toward Earth with single-minded purpose. Conventional weapons fired at them seemed to be absorbed without effect. Maya stood with the other awakened on a platform atop the Alps facility, watching the sky as the void ships entered Earth's atmosphere. "Remember your training," Ilara said, standing among them. "Unite your consciousness. Become the weapon you were designed to be." Maya reached out with her mind, connecting with the others in a neural network more powerful than any computer. Together, they extended their awareness toward the approaching ships. The lead void vessel shuddered in the sky as it encountered the united mental force of the awakened. Its dark surface rippled as if in pain. "Push harder," Ilara urged. "Find the pattern of their consciousness and disrupt it." Maya searched through the quantum field, feeling for the alien intelligence. It was vast and cold, a hive of countless individual minds merged into one predatory entity. She found its pattern, a recursive fractal of consumption and growth, and with mathematical precision, introduced a new equation. Around the world, other groups of awakened joined the effort, their consciousness merging into a human superintelligence that rivaled the void. In orbit above Earth, the void ships began to fragment, their unified consciousness disrupted by the human counterattack. Some fell from the sky, others turned on each other in confusion, still others fled back toward deep space. The battle lasted 3 days. When it was over, humanity stood victorious, though the cost had been high. Thousands of the awakened had burned out their newly activated abilities, and many had died from the mental strain. But Earth was safe, and humanity forever changed. 1 month after the Void's defeat, Maya stood with Ilara on a hillside overlooking the rebuilt Geneva. The lunar guardian was preparing to return to the moon. "Will they come back?" Maya asked. "Eventually," Ilara replied. "But by then, you will be ready. The awakening has begun, and it cannot be reversed. Each generation of humans will be born with these abilities more developed than the last." "What happens now?" Maya asked. Ilara looked up at the stars, visible even in the daylight to their enhanced vision. "Now humanity takes its place among the stars. You were created to be defenders, but you have become so much more. My people would be proud of what you have become. Will you stay with us?" Maya asked. "Help us understand these new abilities." Ilara shook her head. "My purpose is complete. I must return to the sanctuary and enter final stasis. But first, I will leave you with the star maps, coordinates of other worlds where my kind may have seeded life as we did here. Perhaps in time, you will find them." Maya watched as Ilara boarded the ship that would return the alien to the lunar sanctuary. As it rose into the sky, she felt a final thought from the Luminar Guardian touch her mind. "You were never our weapons," came Ilara's mental voice. "You were our children. And now, at last, you have awakened to your inheritance." Maya smiled as she reached out with her mind, gently moving a nearby stone without touching it. Across the globe, thousands of others were learning to control similar abilities. Schools were being established to train the next generation. Humanity was evolving before her eyes. The moon hung in the daytime sky, no longer just Earth's satellite, but a reminder of humanity's true origins and the destiny that awaited them among the stars. Maya turned and walked back toward the city, ready to help build humanity's new future.